Hello, hello, hello. It says we have an excellent connection. Let's see here. Hopefully this will come through.
Yes.
Nice and smooth. It's been an interesting day already.
Did they say we're on? I'm looking for us. We're on Evolutionary, right?
Yes, we are on Evolutionary. We are recording, and we're waiting to see if this plugs through here fine. Okay, it looks like it's starting to connect now.
Nice, 'cause I don't see us yet.
And there's notification. Watch live. And then let's put this sound down. And that sounds familiar, that voice.
Yes. Who is that? Who is that?
Okay.
Is that weirdo?
So, guys, it's been, as we were saying, it's been a pretty long day already. I hope everybody's had a good day. I see 8 viewers showing. It looks like everything is going slowly here. Okay. Dan, the walking man, is in the house. Congratulations. You're number 1, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
Kristen Kruger, also known as KK, is in the house. Much love and kisses. John is in the house. It is alive.
Yay! Hello there, John. Yay! I'm so glad you guys are here. Thanks for showing up. It has been a long day, has it not?
Jared Guerrera, good to see you. What's up? There's the special K as well. 888 blessings to everyone.
Yes.
Foxy Lotus, it's working. Awesome. Mars Fool's Gold is in the house. Long time. I remember seeing Mars Fool's Gold when we were going live all the time.
Yes.
She's back in like 2019, 2020. Yeah, absolutely. Wasamata from Montana. Wailing Shredding's also from Montana. So we got some Montana in the house. Crypto Adoption Coming is supposedly from Antarctica. Maybe Crypto Adoption Coming is actually at one of the EGG bases in Antarctica. Are you secretly meeting with Elon and his buddies? Maybe Enki will stop by. K-Heads 2, salutations. Maddie Butcher, Viola Knight, Made Alive, love and favor.
Fix my phone. I need my husband to fix my phone. I'm trying to find my live so I can talk to you guys via Sassy Susie because she's ornery. And he's so fast. He's like, click, and it's back. Thank goodness for him. Oh my gosh, I don't know what I would do without him. Hello there, CM Titello, Pedros, Narda, Mars Fool Gold. We said hello. Hello again. Viola Knight, Arkansas here. Oh, good. It's good to see Arkansas. I bet you the weather has got to be really good there. This is an okay time of year. It's a little bit warm, but because there's like a lot of trees and a lot of shade, you should be able to find a nice place to sit.
Absolutely. It's all about getting a little shade and a little breeze going. So, yeah, it started out and it's like, what do you want to cover with this one? And then it turned into now a real long one that's going on. And we have a lot to cover. But let's start way over here. And start with I was originally going to put this on Evolutionary, but then we decided to put it over on Heart's Home, as Heart's Home is like more pure spirituality, just pure spirituality. Nice. And Sita says, please, everybody, make sure you do subscribe to Heart's Home.
Or she'll bite you.
And we're all talking about the Lionsgate energy and about what that really means and what it is. And so Cindy did a channeling, and we shared the channeling over here on Heart's Home. So please do go and check it out and do subscribe to Heart's Home. Of course, if you're Patreon, then it's up over there as well. And the channeling was interesting because it was channeling from the Arcturians and also from Lyrans, and it was a little different. And Cindy is still basically connected to them. It's as if she has a USB-Z cord still plugged in, and she's still getting information from them.
It starts out really strong. I usually get very, very dizzy. And when I first started this, the dizziness was insane. But I also had different things going on in my body that I had to take care of. So whenever I was dizzy, yes, I was connected to higher self, but I was also out of balance. So that actually went on for years when I was going through my awakening, and I had to adjust myself and I had to work on myself. And I like to talk about it a little bit because I didn't have too many people to show me the ropes or show me the way. I do now have a couple people that I talk to that I can, like bounce stuff off of and say, well, what do you do with this? What do you do with that? And that's really nice, having a mentor. Having a mentor is somebody that you know and trust and has your best interest at heart. Because when you open yourself up to these energies, it does require the heart chakra be pretty open, pretty open. And for that, you got to be vulnerable. And to be vulnerable, you have to deal with your traumas. You have to be okay with them. And that just takes time. So today when I was feeling dizzy, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go. The crown chakra was wide open, and it's 888, and it's time to channel, and I did. And it was a different channeling. I really hope you guys go over, because it has a transmission in it, and she talks through the transmission, and she will talk through your chakras, opening and closing the portal and other information. So it was a fun one.
Yeah, so that's why I entitled it Transmission, because everybody that listens to it's also going to get upgrades. And there's more happening that we cannot see than we can see. Jared asks, if two people die together, do their souls cross together? That would depend on their frequencies and how connected they were in life. Absolutely. Lots of good questions and thoughts out there. Mars Fool's Gold says, We Are Arcturians was an interesting book. I haven't checked it out. But absolutely, the Lionsgate portal is a portal that we are strengthening ourselves, the humans on Earth. We're creating this connection to beautiful, benevolent beings. We have been under a very, very dark system which has imitated light instead of being light, and is actually everything but the light when you get down to it. So, it's part of an awakening that this planet is going through. And this is why you see everything going on. Everything that's going on is really because, we are in a different stage. We are heading out of a Kali Yuga. Pure blood's in the house. And, that's a great thing. That is an absolutely great thing to know and understand. So it is a process. It doesn't happen, just overnight, immediately. It does take time, and it's one person at a time. And you guys are anchors of that light. You're all very special, and you have a big, big part to play in this.
We really can't stress that enough. I know that we are all going through our own stuff, and we all have different ways of being, but we are all very, very special. And I know that the biggest struggle, I think, for star workers or light workers is they feel alone. They feel alone. Nobody gets them. Nobody understands. People just, they cannot connect, and that the traditional way of life just is not, it just is not. But connect where you can, because it is that human connection. Even if you're connecting, just talking about the love of gardening, connect. It's that transfer of love is what we are looking for.
Yeah, on Heart's Home also, there is music that we've done ourselves. As I'm looking at this deep space heart chakra music, it's ambient guitar with Cindy running the tuning fork. So again, listening to these, and there's some of you out there that listen to them on a regular basis, it is tuning for your energy body. So it can definitely help you, especially when you're maybe in a tough time, had a bad day, that type of thing.
It'll really help that. It should help lift you up and over. Please drink water when you listen to the transmission, when you listen to the music. Always, always, always drink water. Your body's going to want to move up, and the yucky bugs are going to want to move down and out, and the water helps that. Both sides.
Absolutely. It's fascinating, too, that so much is coming out about parasites. and the parasitic nature and equating parasites with demons, which is, really something you can do in this world. And obviously the parasitic nature of the politics and the other mind control that they place us under in this world. So here you have 45 saying we have a lot of bad things coming up. Well, we have something great happening too, and that's an awakening and an ascension process where we will escape the need to look at, and I'm not just calling him out, all politicians for the most part are truly actors on a stage acting out a part to placate humans so that the humans will just be more compliant, thinking that their voice matters in the system that is truly very, very inhumane.
It's not nice. It's just not nice. I mean, we can learn a lot from our pets. I know that, if I get sad or if I see stuff that's going on that's sad, I grab my pups. I pet my pups. I try to, work myself up to a better place in the mind. And all of this it all has purpose. If it bothers you, if it brings you just disdain, if you just absolutely hate it and wish it would go away, it brings something into your world that you need to work on. And I was just talking with a friend the other day. We were talking about Buddhist detachment. And if nothing else, this media, this world that we live in, the world stage is good to help us practice that detachment, because that's not us.
Absolutely. So while there are a lot of things planned, like another Great Depression or an even bigger version of it, and another world war, ultimately these are kind of the last plays of the system as humanity awakens really to what's been going on. And we do have a say in this. Again, we can absolutely shift paradigms. We can change timelines. We really can. I do think that we've slowed their roll for quite a bit, and I think we can again waylay their plans and force them to keep moving back to a different plan, going from plan A to plan B to plan Z, hopefully, until they run out of plans. So it was interesting too that he did this. If you notice the words he uses, they're letting us know intentionally. I really do feel they're letting us know intentionally just how much it's all an illusion.
Well, I've run against Hillary, and I've run against various other people. I would say that in terms of intelligence, Hillary was far superior. I would say that. Hillary was smart. She was her own worst enemy in many ways, but she was smart, very smart.
Now, some will just say, well, he's saying she was because she ran in the past. She's not running now. Other people pick up that he's saying Hillary was because Hillary isn't anymore on the 3D plane, the real Hillary. And, again, this is how the division is. You'll get some that say, well, he just means she's not running this time, and he's basically calling Kamala not that smart. Okay, but it's the way he says it that also kind of, I think, is very telling for those that understand that, again, there's multiple of all of these actors at all different levels. There's multiples of them. And, honestly, I'm not really sure which ones are biological and which ones maybe totally mechanical.
It's difficult sometimes when I read one's energy, and I've run into these problems. And actually, you guys have helped me understand myself in comments, because I've read into people and I just see this one person, politician I was reading into. I could walk so far into their energy field, and then it was like falling off a black cliff. I mean, just walk in, fall off a black cliff, and then I see nothing but blackness and darkness. And somebody came in and said, that's more of an AI generation, because you are seeing what is. You're seeing what is real in our living world. And when it comes to AI, you just can't see that. So that's how I know then I'm just dealing with an AI generated entity that's probably dominated by AI.
Yeah, I mean there are videos and still photographs that show Hillary Clinton that is much shorter than another version of Hillary, and some that look older. Of course, we all have our good and bad days, right? But at the same time, I mean, it's just obvious. We know with all the different Bidens, and even 45 himself, as some people have zoomed in on his ear and seen there's no scar or anything. Well, of course, he could have the very best plastic surgeons, obviously. But still, it's all been a ruse the whole time. So Iran is currently moving missile launchers, conducting military drills, and warning all airlines to stay out of their airspace as they're preparing for their attack on Israel. And I know of no other nation that says we are going to attack and then waits weeks. I've never seen that anywhere before. It is kind of curious. But what can you say? It is a big show, and they're waiting for the timing to be maxed.
Oh yeah, that's what I say. It's definitely in the stars. As we have seen, Miss Joni, she's just knocking them out of the park.
Oh yeah, and did you want to talk anything about the astrological alignments?
Let's talk about that, because it's been very difficult. I always like to remind people, as above, so below. So the struggles that we are going through now, and where the moon is positioned, where Mars is positioned, and Mercury's in retrograde, that can be a tough one. So we have a lot of people dealing with Saturn in retrograde, which really makes you be very introspective. It makes you go within quite a lot. And with Mercury, where it's at, you can almost misconstrue the information that you're taking in yourself. But that doesn't mean that the information is incorrect. It just means don't use what you have right now. Don't take anything to heart. Don't take anything super seriously. Let it go and let your energy kind of pan out as the planets do their thing. As Mercury moves back into a more regular position, so will the energy of Saturn that you brought in on yourself. The energy of Saturn is going to help you just make yourself better. So I hope that helps some people if they're going through confusion, if they're having, any kind of issue. Just understand it's a really difficult time for the energy field, where instead of running smoothly, there could be some twists due to the magnetic push and pull of the planets. It's really something that's beyond our comprehension, our human comprehension, because we don't think about this normally every day, but it's happening. So that can twist our energy fields. Just know that. Stay super grounded. Stay connected to Mother Earth and connected to Father Sun, and find that center.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we also have seen video of that incursion of Ukraine supposedly into Russia. And it's interesting that Cindy picks up that there's a very strong element of it being fabricated.
I did when we were going through the news and we saw that. I picked up a fabrication that I couldn't deny. I couldn't shove it away, and I'm like looking at it, trying not to let it stick too much, but that kept coming back and back and back, and something kept saying, no, that's not real, that's not right, what they're portraying is not what is.
But we've seen a lot of reports of this. 55-year-old woman from near to Chester was arrested earlier today on suspicion of a number of offenses in relation to social media posts containing inaccurate information about the identity of the attacker in the Southport murders. So, it's gotten to the point where they are arresting people in the dozens over in the UK for their tweets and retweets, and it literally is in law now. So here you go, just like we saw in Australia and in New Zealand with the lockdown that came, just incredible, and Canada too, with just this taking away any sort of rights that you have. At the same time, they're supposedly protecting the rights of others. It's just, this is what the system does. It is all divide and conquer. It really is Genesis 11. It's the Tower of Babel. Can't have humans together and united. You got to always create conflict. You have an African immigrant that, according to this photo, stabbed a British police officer in Gateshead, UK, as you see somebody sitting here on the ground, apparently being arrested. We've seen gangs of what looks to be hundreds roaming with what looks to be machetes and, clubs out there in the streets. It's gotten so crazy over in the UK right now. It's kind of mind-boggling. We checked in with some of our friends over there, and and everybody that we checked in's area, they were aware of things happening, but they hadn't had those things thankfully happen in their area at this point, because there's also that whole fabrication thing going on, where you really can't trust any particular video. You really can't trust anything coming out of the media. There's so many fake accounts. You don't know who sets them up. This one, Europe Invasion. So, you don't know. He's got 402,000 followers. So that's a pretty big account. But it says right here, artificial intelligence on X, right? So, is it literally created by MI6? We don't know. Did Elon do it himself? Maybe. We don't really know. And you really can't find out unless you're, deep into the system itself. This, here you see some scenes from London. It looks pretty bad, this is London. It looks pretty bad. There's been just so much chaos going on, and there's no end in sight. Definitely prayers for the UK, everybody over there. If you needed a reminder, that DEAGEL forecast, which again, what's the sources? The sources were the DOD, CIA, FBI, and other top-level intelligence agencies. They made that forecast back in 2016, 2017, and they basically gave you a UK that only has a population of 15 million people come 2025. 2025 is just months away. We're at 8/8. So, you got the rest of, you got 5 months, basically, almost 5 months, not even 5 months, till we hit 2025. Now, I don't know if they were saying January 1st, 2025, or by the end of 2025, that somehow, you'd have almost, 53 million people hightail it out of the UK or leave in one way, shape, or form. I don't know, but you do have, WW3 on the horizon, and you think about that forecast, and you look at this happening here, all the chaos going on. It's not so hard to envision seeing a lot of people wanting to leave the UK, and hopefully, taking their bodies with them, or again, make your stand in whatever you feel you have to do. Is there any chance for peaceful integration? Well, when the system's all about keeping us apart, it makes it hard.
It is, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who's mentioning the UK and sending prayers and energy to those living in the UK who are going through this nonsense, this stuff that really does not need to happen, with the exception of the controllers making it happen for their own personal reasons. That can help, and we are going to do a bit of a patterning at the end of the video, and it's going to be a quiet pattern. It's going to be my weighted fork. So while we're talking, you write down some stuff. Write down how you want to see this world. Write down how you want to see your life. Write down what you want to see happen, because we do have the ability to step into the driver's seat and help drive and give our energy and our offerings to those to really help the light. We are soldiers of light. This is what we do, and we've been given this light, and we are light anchors, and we have purpose, and we need to use it. If you have that calling, it's not going to stop calling until you answer. I'll tell you that.
And the people that don't understand why people leave one area and leave everything, and go to someplace else with nothing and with no plan, even just simply you have to leave an area because of war, or in the case of whatever you want to use to describe what's going on in Gaza, which if you ask me, I'd say it's the same thing that happened way back when this area was called Canaan, and it was being invaded by the control system, and the control system took control of the area. It's the same thing, and really it's a metaphor in so many ways for the Martian invasion, which it sounds crazy to word it that way. But yeah, the Martian invasion happened thousands of years ago, and it's still ongoing. These battles against humanity that we're witnessing today are still part of that invasion process. And part of that plan is replacing the people that have the heart and the soul of peace and of what the earth was. And again, the predecessor of the earth, Tiamat, as the earth was created from the wreckage of Tiamat, the leftover of Tiamat. And our mythologies do tell us of that. And at the same time, we and I've found that there's others out there that have gotten the same channeled information. Again, the earth is created from Tiamat, the destruction of Tiamat, by the draconian system that controls Earth right now, which did the same thing to Mars. It destroyed Mars, and then it came here, and it's destroying the planet here. And thankfully, the Earth is going to go and ascend out of this, and they're not going to be able to handle the frequencies. So at some point, I do think there is a splitting that's coming. And after the split, at some point, I do think they'll hightail it out of here in more ways than one. But we might actually get to witness for our very own eyes the beings that are in our myths and legends that we know as the Anunnaki, or the Anunnaki, again, is a big term, those that come from, up there to here, those that descend from the sky to the earth again. It's a big term. So specifically the draconian part of that, the system again that comes from Nibiru, comes from Mars. It comes from other places too, as the reptilian home base. It appears Alpha Draconis over around Orion. Again, we probably, most of us have heard some of these things. I'm sure I'm not stating things that you guys haven't heard before.
Mm-hmm. I know. That's why I like this channel, because people have understanding of a very large, wide variety. So you don't just watch the news, or you don't just watch, channels that are spiritual. You take it all in, and that's what helps when we are able to come close and connect. I really feel that we give each other upgrades. I do. Whenever we come into contact in this way, I think we're giving out much needed upgrades and much needed healing. And I got to tell you, the last time we did do a session, and I did do the tuning forks, it does seem like some people went through some healing type mechanisms, and I was surprised at how many were going through that healing process. So to come together and discuss this, I think is important, and I think it's helpful.
What you're watching here is people streaming out of Gaza because everything that they know is destroyed and left in rubble. Absolutely, eradicated. It doesn't exist anymore, and what is there is unsafe, and it's not habitable. 76 years ago, this was happening in a little different way, but these people were uprooted, or their predecessors were uprooted when they created Israel. They moved out 750,000 to 1 million people that were living in an area and forced them out of it. And in order to create the modern recreation of Israel, be careful with my words, as you have to be very, very careful with your words. Again, if you actually get your hands on a Talmud and look at it, feel it, touch it, the word that comes to mind to me is scary, and the energy that comes off of it is very dark. It's really dark. I don't know how you could make it and turn it into light, but that's what the system does. It turns darkness into light. When you hear people quoting Matthew 24, and I see people all the time, Matthew 24. Jesus left the temple, was walking away. Disciples came up to him to call his attention to the buildings. Do you see all these things? He asked. Truly, I tell you, not one stone will be left upon another. Everyone will be thrown down. This is New International Version. As he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, disciples came to him privately. Tell us, when will this happen, and what will be the sign of your coming and the end of the age? Watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Messiah, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Famines, earthquakes in various places, all these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you'll be handed over and persecuted and put to death, and you'll be hated by all nations because of me. At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other, and many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. So, when you hear that, there's many things to take from this. Now, for one, granted, this is supposedly taking place around the year 30 or 33 or 29, somewhere in that time frame, AD. A long time ago. This area that he's talking about to these people, it did fall, and it fell in 70 AD. And when he talks about the stones not being left there, he's talking about the temple. And the temple was destroyed. And the Wailing Wall, the Western Wall that we've seen every single president kiss, every single world leader kiss, you name it, they've kissed it, including Texas Governor Greg Abbott, both Trump and Biden and Joe Biden and Bush's and Clinton's and Obama's. I mean, they've all kissed the wall. The wall is all that's left of the temple, right? So this happened in 70 AD. Now, the problem is that, the oldest copies we have of that writing that I just read from are 250 to 300 years later. So revisionist history, that was in the deep past. It's very, very easy to write about what happened 200, 300 years ago and, nail it because it is in the past. That should be self-evident. We don't have anything from that time period or even really that close to that time period. Now, I know in some Bible circles, they will say that the first Gospels were written down about 55 to 75 AD, which again would be about 20 to 40, 50 years after Yeshua, Jesus, was actually here. Yet again, the only copies we have are really coming around the time period of Constantine and the Catholic Church putting it all together into one cohesive system, because the Roman Empire was coming under pressure from various splinter groups, and it was getting harder to keep people together. And that is really what an empire values most, is its power and its control. So they created one version of it through the original Council of Nicaea and the various councils afterwards, and then they persecuted everybody that was believing a different version of it, because it was very diverse, really diverse. And that's something to realize. Now, when we look at wars and rumors of wars, we all know that since the whatever it was that happened on 9/11, holograms are very interesting things. There's so much that we could talk about with 9/11. It's been nonstop wars. And this is a list of wars that have been going on for just really our modern times here, since after 9/11. And you could see, all over the world, every corner of the world, there's wars going on. Oh, yeah. In fact, again, in our modern times, there never has been a break. Now, we haven't had a world war. Or have we? I mean, is this part of a world war? This is part of the bigger picture. Again, I would recommend John Levy. He's great. I really enjoy him. There's other ones out there too that are really digging deep into all the relics of our past to show that there is a nonstop redo. I'd like to use the SET word, but let's call it a redo. That is, just like this word says, ongoing. It's ongoing. And it really is part of that initial invasion that happened in my mind. I gotta say, when did this all start? I think it started with the Younger Dryas mass extinction event. And some will say, and I've gotten into some discussions on Twitter and other places with people where they think no, that was all part of the 12,000 year catastrophe cycle. But what you see that's happening is that this is ongoing, and it's not really. Yes, there are natural cycles, and again, I think the yugas are an explanation of the natural cycles that we go through. So as you can see, you see this list. I mean, this is all the modern ones. It goes on forever. Were you guys aware of all these different conflicts going on, these wars? In fact, again, we could take this back all the way back to Jesus' time. Heads up, there never was a time when there weren't wars going on all over this planet. In our recorded history. Wars and rumors of wars, that's just like saying, oh, well, if you see people eating bread, then you know the end is near.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that if you understand the controller's playbook, you're able to break out of it. So, I mean, to me, this is why we bring it up. This is why we bring attention to it. It's to say, hey, this is not right. Something's not right here. Someone is using this to control you. And on it goes. And unless you are ready to wake up, awakening, that's so many different shades of different colors. What does that look like? Well, it's a process. It's not an easy one. It's a painful one. Usually there's one for about every family, like we call it the black sheep. Those who find that new understanding and are able to break open and realize what's really going on. Because at some point, probably in this lifetime, I want to say probably, but in the grand scheme of things, our life that we live is, well, it's just a sliver. However, it could happen in our lifetime. So having that one person ready to help others wake up as well is very, very important. So your job should be taken so seriously if you are a light worker, if you are anchoring your light of information locally, wherever you're at. And you're also protectors. Understand that you are protecting your area. Your light is very, very strong, and your light can encompass the whole area. It does help if you are doing the mind, body, breath, bringing that energy into you to expand your light. So you want to expand your light starting with yourself. You just want to work on yourself. After that, you start with other loved ones. After that, you start with your household. After that, you start with your block. And you get bigger and bigger and bigger. And as you build that light, you are protecting. You're protecting your area. You're helping.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, these generalized prophecies are so easy to fulfill, especially several hundred years after they actually happen, and then again, when you realize too, it's all just part of a plan that repeats itself repeatedly, and how often is it happening? It's always ongoing. It's been continually ongoing with peaks and valleys and ebbs and flows. And see some good conversation. Yes, it is a war zone, but it's not always this way. This is how it is in the Kali Yuga. This is why the Kali Yuga is the Kali Yuga, because people don't understand they don't have to be constantly at war with each other. There's other ways to live. We don't have to be a Democrat or Republican. We don't have to be a capitalist or a communist or a socialist or fascist, whatever it is. We could say none of the above. Check the box that says none of the above. And that starts with awakening and sharing with others. Now, it should become obvious in the minds of those that really actually look and absorb what is said. If you take it at face value, there's a falling away in Matthew 24. It's said, again, in other places too, the whole world will be led astray. Well, if the whole world's led astray, but 65% of the world is following some form of the Abrahamic tradition, that's the majority of the world. So it only goes to say that those that follow the Orthodox modern day fundamentalist versions, they're the ones that are led astray, because the system is the one that's given them these belief systems. When you look at the Cathars, and so I'm so blessed to have this amazing woman next to me. I mean, I might be an encyclopedia, but she's like tapped into the Akashic records, so she can go way past anything that I can do. And, I'm just glad, because I asked for somebody like that, and they gave me her. So it's wonderful. They knew exactly what I needed. And deemed heretics by the Vatican, as many as 2 million Catholic Christians were slaughtered in the 12th century. These are just a fraction of the people whose lives were ended prematurely because they came in conflict with the Roman Catholic Church. In fact, what did they try to do? Well, they tried to do, to a degree, what the Essenes, who, the Essenes, by the way, are what I believe Jesus really was. And the Essenes were a group of people that tried to live outside of society because they realized that society was very, very twisted and evil and being controlled by an evil system. They didn't want to have anything to do with it, or as little as possible. So they lived outside of society for the most part. And the Cathars were trying to do the same thing peacefully. They were trying to establish zones where they didn't go by the rules of the rest of the world, which was basically in Europe at this time, following whatever the Vatican dictated. And so 2 million, and this is what history tells us, it may be more, 2 million Cathars were slaughtered. I mean, they were brutally slaughtered by the church. You cannot imagine. There is nobody. There's nobody on this planet, as far as a group, that has more blood on their hands, perhaps, than the Vatican when you get down to it.
No, I mean, when I felt this information and looked at the word Cathars, I could see that there's something very good in their energy field, and their energy field, when they were in the 3D, they had a persuasiveness about them. They had a magnetism about them. People could feel and hear the truth through them. So unfortunately, they were a threat, and yes, it does take the light and the dark to go create what we have. But I don't like what the dark does. So I'm going to step in there with my light, and I'm going to say, hey, that's not okay. No, that's not happening. This has got to be fixed, and I want it to go this way, and you guys have that ability too.
So the Cathars, very much like the Gnostics, believed that the Roman Catholics were mistakenly following a very satanic being as God, rather than the true creator of this universe. And they recognized no priesthood. They did their own thing. They did believe in reincarnation. So again, reincarnation is something that was forbidden in Catholicism, because again, it's about controlling minds here and now. So it's so obviously a control system that if it convinces you that if you go against what it says in this world, you will be punished by an eternity in hell, it's pretty obvious that's a great way to control people and to maintain your wealth, your prestige, and your power. So, this is exactly what they were doing. And they also were trying to live peaceful, and they were also trying to live simply, and have no part of all the different divisive wars going on. And these people were abjectly slaughtered, completely eradicated, whole villages and towns completely exterminated by the Catholic Church.
Yeah, it's just, it's out there, and this is what happened, and this is how everyone was led into darkness. And if we understand how we get led into darkness, then we know that it's really important to go within and make sure that the information we're getting is the information of the heart, and only we can decide that. So anything that's coming external, especially I think, books and the mass media, anything that's really popular, we really need to side-eye that.
Absolutely. So again, this is how those that are following the fundamentalist side of things are really truly following the satanic system, and they don't understand. They just do it because they're living a fear-based reality. And yet people like the Cathars, they stuck to their guns even unto the death, and they were slaughtered. Again, they were used, the fundamentalist believers in what the Vatican was pushing were used as tools to eradicate threats to their power structure. This is exactly what we see in all the politicians of this day. There's no difference. Nothing different has changed. And in my mind, and again, every time I see Ryan Hall y'all on live, I can't comment on any live stream other than our own. They won't let me do that, but I can put in comments down, in the normal area. So I'll just always go on and say geomodification, weather warfare, because this is another version of war against humanity. And again, when you understand the Bible is talking about when people disobey in any way, shape, or form the system, the people get punished. So when we actually look at it for what it's really saying, it's saying the satanic system is absolutely punishing humans for any thought of going against the system. Here you have, this is a house that collapsed upon itself due to a tornado. This is in North Carolina. As you have a system just stall in the middle of the Carolinas. Again, we saw that in the past, and this is 2024. So it was just hitting me this afternoon. The fact that this is 2024, this is the end of a 7-year cycle that began with 2017 with those eclipses. And I do think what they were foreshadowing was really in so many ways the end of the United States as we know it, which I think is to be, become totally manifested by that 2025 date. So, will it wait until the election, or if the election happens? Yeah, it's likely that there'll be more of a drawing out period in between now and then. But I do think that the U.S. is destined to change. I think what they have planned is the illusion of any sort of freedom is going to go by. And we were talking about the comments that 45 had made, saying, "Don't worry, you're not going to have to vote anymore." And it's the same sort of, in my mind, a little bit of cognitive dissonance, where the people will say, well, you don't have to vote anymore until the next 4 years. Inserting that part in instead of you won't have to vote anymore because we're not going to have a system where anybody votes anymore. It's going to be just a dictatorship. But, then again, he made that comment with Xi and said, oh, well, Xi, he's in there for life. I wish I had that. These are the things that a lot of people do pay attention to, and other ones just kind of let brush off, and they don't really pay attention to it. So, yes, absolutely. They are always writing the future, but again, I think there's multiple plans in place depending on us. It all depends on us. And here you see this from Charleston Fire Department. That's a massive sinkhole. I don't know. Hopefully they have things up around this. All this rain and all this water is saturating the whole East Coast at the moment. By the way, there are the potential for 2 more storms that could be coming. As you see this one right here, 40% chance of development into a tropical named system. Right where it's at, this makes me think more of a Florida hit or, again, a East Coast hit. So this could be something that is going to be impacting the East Coast in 10 to 12 days. So we'll have to watch that. And this is what looking at this is what's triggered those thoughts in my mind, because I remember 2017 very well. I was in Sarasota, and I actually evacuated for a hurricane, and that was the time we had 3 hurricanes in like 2 weeks. 3 major hurricanes in 2 weeks' time. Again, Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico got hit. Was that Irma, if I remember right? I think it was. You guys can correct me. And I think this is kind of like this year is the end of one cycle, and then next year feels like it's going to begin a new cycle.
It could, just looking at all this stuff, and unfortunately, we're powerless over so much of it. There's not much we can do. I've been, watching the flooding, watching the fires, watching the earthquakes, and everything go on and on and on, and I feel like there has to be some type of evening or some type of balancing that is definitely due to come. And I think that balancing is from us. I think it's our positive energy. I think it's the light. I think it's our attitude to help bring this energy to a point where we really are co-creating our reality, and it's manifesting to what we want to see.
I do see some interesting comments by Anuki in there. And this is something we wanted to get across too. When we look at Tiamat does have a very strong, what we would call Kundalini energy. And yeah, it can be represented by the same sort of energy on a bigger scale of the Nagas. And again, all this is basically, it's in all of us. And this is part of what the guides wanted us to get across to you more. And there's so many details sometimes when we don't have, we don't play it directly because of one reason or another. Sometimes things get missed. But please do, again, I would love to see 100 new subscribers over to Hearts Home. Because there's so much over there that's so good, and the playlists too are very important. You have all the mantras there, you have the music there, and the meditations, the biofield tunings with my wonderful gifted wife that just shares so much love and information with everybody out there. Tiamat is being reborn in Earth. She is being reborn in Earth, and in fact she never really died per se. You could look at it as a new rebirth. Yes, Tiamat was much bigger than the current Earth. This current Earth is much smaller than Tiamat. And if you, just to give an instance, because where we were was where the asteroid belt is. Now, the other thing that we've gotten that I haven't seen anybody else share is the fact that, they might share that planets are conscious beings, but not the fact that they could actually decide to change their positions and move to a new spot. I've never seen anybody say that anywhere. And I let me put it out there for you guys in the comments. Would you tell me if you've ever heard that? I would love to hear if anybody else has picked this information up, because I've never heard that anywhere else, but then there's still a lot that I haven't heard either. And so in 59 years, there's a lot that I haven't learned yet. But I thought this was fascinating that the planets do change their position. They also change, everything changes in the yugas. The changes are insanely amazing that are coming.
Well, I think maybe sometimes people forget that as above, so below, that the planets are a living, breathing entity, and they do have that ability to position themselves in a very advantageous spot. So we look at humans, and there are programs, and they're online. You can use them. You punch in your date of birth, and it shows where is your energy going to be the most positive. Where are you going to grow the most? So there's this information, and then we come in here into these, we're so very expansive. Our understanding of the universe when we are not in human bodies is so expansive. Without our human suit, it would, sometimes people get overwhelmed, and it's because they are taking in too much information. So while we are here to expand, but in order to expand, you have to be kind of collapsed into a very dense type of energy. And I hope people can understand that. I always get concerned that, somebody is, I don't know, just not getting it, and therefore might get angry or upset, but that's my problem. That's something that I need to work through. My job is to bring in the information. My job is to be that bridge. My job is to be that shaman. My job is to help people understand that there is the spiritual and there is the 3D, that there is a bridge to that. You are that bridge, and if you're not able to find your way back and forth across, then I help. I'm here to hold your hand. I'm here to help you, bring you understanding, help you walk until you can run, and infuse you with love and light and understanding of truth.
The doctor says Velikovsky planets in collision theory. Yes, well, we have Venus coming in, and Venus rotates in the opposite direction. And if I'm remembering correctly, I think a day is longer than a year with Venus. So Venus is really unusual for sure. Again, John Erickson, I want to thank you for being our computer tech.
Hi, John.
John has helped us out figuring out some things because we're not great with computers, and John is. So that's a blessing. Over here, you do see we have that park fire still going on. The park fire in California is up to 427,000 acres, 636 structures destroyed. Wow, again, this they're saying this is the fourth biggest in history at this point, and it's just one record being broken after another. By the way, don't forget that a 42-year-old man was arrested for starting this on purpose, and now we get so many people coming out, and there's more truth coming out. The fact that so many of these fires are arson. It's a very big thing to understand. And here you have the largest private wheat field and grain in the state of Washington on fire. Everything and anything with food. So this is what the guides were telling us, to be mindful of your money. And again, they are going to time the economic crash with the start of the war, because obviously they want to give us a new monetary system. That's a huge part of all this. So again, just be aware of that. Have the things that you need. Try to be able to be as self-sufficient for as long as possible. That's definitely a big thing at this point in time, and work with others. That's really important. Have a plan, have a backup plan.
Do definitely get yourself in a position where you're going to be comfortable, where you can take care of you. So unless, I think buying land, buying property are some ways to be very self-sufficient and have yourself stable. And if that's something you cannot do, just save what you can. Save what you can at home, because we all come from all walks of life and we all have different abilities. But do have some tangible assets, some things, and just sort of hold on to yourself and have yourself ready for some irritation. I can't say that there's going to be crazy things right around the corner. I can never say that. But I can tell you that life does bring you bumps and bruises and can be a little bit painful. So cushion yourself, and maybe we're fixing to go through a little bit of a bumpy phase coming up. So there's that.
Absolutely. And more people are catching on. We mentioned this before. This is Conscious Sean. Jeffrey Bezos, right? When you look at the stories they give us, they say he built a $2 trillion company with hard work and $250,000 of investment loan from his parents. In reality, his grandfather was one of the original co-founders of DARPA. How about that Gil Bates guy? I think we should realize that Gil Bates guy is probably a Gil Gates. Yes, Gates, Rockefeller, Gates. If you know what I mean, yes, the connections. It's all been an illusion. How much of an illusion has it been? I mean, notice his hands with the microphone muffs. Watch the microphone muffs. Watch his hands. Hello, I mean, is he not there, or are the microphones not there? This is crazy, but I got to share with you too. I think I have still on my old computer a photograph I took in North Carolina of some trees with the sun behind it, and somehow the sun gets in front of the trees. Did I ever show you that photo? That sticks in my head.
I think I've seen it.
Did you? Yeah, and I don't know what it was that caught the lens just right, but it was just bizarre. But again, the political system has been one big farce the whole time and one big illusion. And so, yeah, I'm eager to see what they're going to pull out just for the drama of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're here to watch the show, grab the popcorn. Just whatever you do not let yourself go into that feeding space where you are feeding another entity. Do not do that. And that's what we try to teach here. Yes, there's going to be trauma going on. There's going to be a lot of crazy stuff, but you get yourself centered and you be solid for you. We don't want to feed the others.
She said a word that stopped me in my tracks. Popcorn. Because our beloved Mama Jan sent Cindy for her birthday a whole bunch of goodies that are edibly healthy and naughty, but healthy naughty. So we ration those out, and we do have some amazing popcorn to nibble on thanks to Mama Jan. It's just so wonderful to see all you guys here. Wise Owl moved to Northwest Arkansas, which is a great area. Northwest Arkansas is definitely a place that would be high on my list as far as good zones that I think will be a good spot to be. And they moved from Orlando to 100 acres 10 years ago. Wow, that's wonderful. So an awesome place to be, absolutely. Look at the Schumann yesterday in preparation of the Lionsgate. As you can see, it was going crazy. So this is all about consciousness. And it's about our collective consciousness. And, again, ultimately the oneness of all things.
It is. And I think we're getting to the point where we are going to do a little bit of a tuning. How much longer before the tuning? Just curious because I'm getting ready.
You could start at any time as we look at some of Elon's work. Or are they just toys for giants? Interesting when you think of SpaceX. Look at those rockets. What are we going to see? I really think if we're doing a video or a live, if we're allowed to, and if the system is still up and running, say, 4 years from now, around this time, somewhere in 2028, I wouldn't doubt by that time they'll have shown us out in the open some extraterrestrials. I would not doubt that at all.
And I just love John Erickson. He's always making me laugh. He really, really is. So he has this sign up. Please do not feed the entities, just like we're at some kind of a zoo. And it's true, though. It's true. It comes from within us. But I'm going to start doing some tuning. You guys are not going to hear it, but you're going to feel it. And so we're going to...
But let me just do this, because you will hear this.
Oh, you're going to hear the gong. Okay, we're going to do a gong. So give it... Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3, gong. And you guys, that is block removal. That's block removal. That helps you process things, helps you find yourself. So it's good for you. But now that we've done that. And
this was courtesy of our beloved Jane that was sharing her gong with Cindy. And Cindy had a massive removal of some blockages, and she realized the value, and then she was like, do you mind if we get a gong? So we got a gong, and, it's just, it really is. It's sound, the power of sound. Could you guys hear that? I hope you guys could hear that. That will definitely, I love banging a gong. Now, okay.
Mike's the gong. Mike is truly the gong guy. He is.
Yeah, I bang it all the time. So, and by the way, which version of Bang a Gong do you guys prefer? The Power Station's redo or the original T-Rex? I'd be curious to see that as well. Yeah, it is a real gong. It's 2 feet, I think, 2 foot. So very, very cool. Well, good to see you, Mike. Better late than never. Absolutely. Mary says, and with earwax removal. it's just always staring at us right in our faces. Do you remember the Obama movie that shows some sort of attack and civil war happening and some sort of maybe EMP that happened? These are the kids. And one of them has on a T-shirt, Obey, and the other one has NASA. Isn't that like just so incredibly telling? As Johnny Naylor says, they think we're stupid. I think they think most people are sound asleep is what they think. And that Obey is, straight out of They Live. Again, Roddy Piper's movie. It's very, very accurate. Somebody had said, when did you, I don't understand how you got the whole reptilian thing. When did you know? I would say, I think about 92, as far as understanding reptilians were real. As far as understanding that this is all being controlled by aliens, I would say it was, I want to say, junior or senior year of high school. It just hit me while reading the Bible that this was all an extraterrestrial thing. And it gave me chills. It gave me total chills. It all came together with the first David Icke book that I ever got. I think it was Children of the Matrix was the first David Icke book. And no, we don't completely agree with David on everything. I mean, when you get down to it, I think he's been the most accurate overall of any of the bigger names out there that everybody knows. But no, I mean, there's always little things that we're going to disagree on, but it's okay, because the bigger picture is we all want to see humanity be free from this system.
Oh, we do. And thank you so much, Doc Dempsey. We do our best. We do our best to bring this information and help raise the frequency for everyone. We try to do our part the best we can. So I'm hoping you guys may have felt a little extra grounding, a little extra centering, because that's what we worked on right after the gong. Sometimes people feel the goosebumps. They don't feel them until after I say them, but say that I've been doing it. But sometimes they do feel the goosebumps, even if I don't tell them that I'm doing the centering. So drink a lot of water after the session. I just want to hit that home. Water is so critical.
Absolutely. When life gives you a bunch of lemons, make some lemonade. If it gives you floods, then maybe get out there and try water skiing or a little boogie boarding or something. Might as well. Again, this is a temporary human experience. Our natural state is much different than this. One of the things that I will share is after Cindy was done channeling the main part, I did have a few questions, and while they were still in control of her body, so as they were talking to me, I was asking questions relating to other time periods, other lives. And yeah, just as I would venture to guess, I mean, I'm aware of several lives or little snippets of several lives. And then we are aware that we first came here when Earth was recreated from Tiamat, is when we first came here ourselves. As part of an entourage that came here to help with the planet and with, basically getting life going again. As Cindy has gotten the information that, there were hundreds of different species that contributed to what you see on the planet Earth now, that came from different places. So think of Earth as a galactic zoo in some ways, because you don't necessarily find lions on the same planets with elephants, bears, and wolves and alligators, etc., etc. We have a lot of diversity here. And it's because it was in some ways an experiment after it was wiped out as Tiamat and then brought into a new state as Earth. So, this is a blessing. And I see Rosemary's in the house. There she is. We love Rosemary. Of course, we love our Mary D, who's been there the whole time as well. And we'll have Rosemary on. She's in Australia. She's our naturopath. So she's been on the channel several times in the past, and we'll have her on again to go over deep issues of detoxing and nutrition and getting through these times. But yeah, so, they did share, you've had many lives and many lives as beings that are not humans. And so, again, when we look at our pups and we see them showing human emotions and, unique personalities, well, that's the soul, and yes, the soul spark that's in this little puppy, it may very well be a human at some point in time. And it might actually be part of what was a human at some point in time, as we can also split off shards of our consciousness for different ventures.
Well, what I really like is that each being that comes into being is in its own individual packaging, and it knows its purpose. It has an understanding of what it's doing here. Usually what I see is humans are the ones that really struggle with their purpose, and a lot of that is because of education. It's because you were sent to school and told what to believe. So by the time we are adults and we are adulting and we are doing our best, we've conformed to the system. So it's really hard in that murky water to find yourself. It's really hard to look deep within and know this is why I'm here and this is my purpose, but if you do look into the planets and you look into the moon, all the planets have their part. I can't say that I have a favorite anymore because I love them all. They all help us find out who we are from the very beginning. When we were out of that womb, there was a snapshot taken in the ether and there was a reading done immediately. That time of birth, so important. And here we are. And sometimes people do have to resort to that. They have to go backwards with everything. They have to start where they're at now, and they have to go back and look at the planets and see where that alignment starts. Where did the rubber meet the road? What are we doing here? Animals, plants, trees, stuff like that, they know better of what they're here for. I think it's kind of interesting.
So before we go, if you guys feel so inclined, and you're able to put your feet solidly on the ground, and we're going to take 3 deep breaths, 3 deep belly breaths. Just visualize yourself pulling in golden light. Now this golden light's going to come down around the crown chakra. It's going to go around your entire head. It's going to envelop your shoulders, your arms, your torso. It's going to go down through the legs and merge into the ground. And it's going to encase you in a very high vibrational frequency that's going to block off any negativity or any dark energies or entities. So one nice deep inhale and then exhale. And as you exhale, you could see any sort of dark energy that was left over in your body releasing out through the golden light and exiting and being sealed off from re-entering. And do another inhale. Send it down into the ground. See yourself shining in a glowing golden aura that's totally impenetrable from any dark lower energies. And one last inhale. And may you all be blessed with love and peace and happiness and manifest that destiny that you want to manifest.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.